Hello everyone, this is Ed Ray 1416, formerly known as Berg Productions, here with my second ever conservative commentary. The video in question is from a user named Eric Kaufman regarding why Calexit is a smart idea. The subject in question came about due to protest in California following the election of Donald Trump. With that out of the way, the avatar for today's commentary is Eustace Bagg from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Time to see what this is all about.
Hi there, my name is Eric Kaufman. I'm coming to you from the Eastern Sierra. It's a little chilly out. It's basically mid-November, and snow's coming in soon, so don't worry, this won't take long. But I wanted to do this from our environment, right? I wanted to, California, whether it's the mountains or the beaches and the oceans and the deserts and the forests, we love our environment. We take care of our environment.
If the environment in California is clean, then why are there still complaints about the air quality in Los Angeles and other urban places? Not to mention the wildfires that constantly go on in California isn't exactly different from the numbers of vehicles that are being driven in the place. I know wildfires are something you folks cannot control over there, but wildfires do alter air quality significantly. Keep that in mind when presenting a point.
So being behind a desk with a webcam and a headset on and a microphone just really wasn't in the cards for me, and probably isn't in the cards for you if you're a Californian as well.
It would have been a good idea to get straight to the point because what you just said added nothing to the video. No offense, but when addressing a serious topic like Calexit, you gotta get to the point so the audience can engage into the subject in question.
Basically what I want to start with is the fact that what I think is dumber than Calexit, right? You want to say Calexit's dumb, it's a stupid idea. What I want to say is dumber than that is the idea that the United States will look and act the way it does for infinity, okay? Whether this country, whether our country ends or functions differently, the way that the states function with our federal government, right? Whether we have a federal government, the control of that federal government, the idea that this is just the way it is, and it's always going to be the way that it is absolutely crazy. It wasn't but about 100 years ago or so that we had a civil war. We split the country in half, right? I mean, put it back together again. But this idea that this is a fixed society and there is no room for change is crazy. It will change. Whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 200 years, this country will either A, not exist anymore, or B, will be very different than the way it exists right now. So really what you have to ask yourself is not whether or not you're just going to put your fingers in your ears, your gloved fingers in your ears because it's cold outside, and worry more about your Amazon orders and the next episode of Stranger Things and all the stuff that we really like to care about and concern ourselves with. But what you really need to ask yourself is knowing that our system is going to change, right? It's malleable. People are shifting it around. Okay, I met a lady in Clinton, Tennessee, years ago, who honestly did not want to come to California because she thought that God was going to send California to the ocean because of the homosexuals, right? So people like her and other folks, they are changing our country. They're changing it. And California, being in the progressive vanguard, they're not changing it in a way that we like, right? Not at all. So you need to ask yourself, do we want to... Here's options again. We could sit back on the couch, fingers in the ears, play our PlayStations, go for hikes, take the dog down to the beach, do all the cool stuff we love to do. But maybe we should do some other things. Maybe we should talk about, maybe we should codify, maybe we should really sit down and say, what kind of monetary instrument would we use if we weren't in the United States anymore?
Two major problems with this logic. There was not a civil war over 100 years ago, unless you were talking about a California Civil War, which I never heard of. The Civil War started all because of tension between the North and the South. It wasn't about slavery because both the North and the South had slavery. It was about money because money equals power. The South was making an enormous amount of money due to tobacco and cotton. The Civil War started in 1861 and ended in 1865. If you're going to state facts about the Civil War, do your research, elaborate your points, and leave links in the description. The other problem is that California entered the Union in 1850 because of the California Gold Rush. You need to remember that gold and silver were used to mint coins so people could have money to buy property and goods. What would California offer in terms of money if there is no gold and silver to be minted? Gold dictates the overall quality of money. Take some economic courses and understand how the economy works.
In the way that they want it to go to, right? We need to be the ones to take control. We need to be the ones to establish a lot of these autonomous principles.
Here's the main reason why CalExit will not work. Number one, a lot of citizens in California depend on government programming like Social Security, food stamps, and welfare to get by. If California were to become independent, how are you folks going to motivate people to go to work? Number two, California has a debt of $475 billion. How would CalExit work considering how bad the economy has been as of recent? Number three, California has a pretty bad drought going on according to what I'm seeing here on droughtmonitor.unl.edu. California has a pretty bad drought continuing. Therefore, I do not believe that California could succeed under these conditions even if they tried. I know I'm biased here, but what I just presented is fact. Mr. Kaufman, I know you're trying to present an intelligent point, but there is a deeper meaning that needs to be explored.
Okay? Things are changing, whether you want them to or not. The question you really have to ask yourself is, are you part of changing in a direction that you think this place should go? Would you want, make a green screen out of it. Would you want your family to grow up in an independent California that's friends with its neighbors, that has an economic powerhouse, that has a beautiful environment? Would you want them to grow up in that country?
Economic powerhouse? Like I said, California has a debt of $475 billion. Sure, California's economy might be doing good now, but here's the question. How many of those jobs are private sector jobs? How many of those jobs are government jobs? Another problem. Beautiful environment? Severe drought, massive wildfires, smog in urban areas is not a beautiful environment. Here's an example of a dried-up lake in California. Owens Lake has been bone dry for years. Another example is Tulare Lake. You call that a beautiful environment? I know there are other lakes, ponds, whatever have you that are dried up in California. As for the establishment in America, racist groups, etc., that's happening all around the world. There is no such thing as purity and innocence in this world anymore because of racism, sick punks, and ruthless leaders wanting to take away people's freedoms. Texas realized this and did not pursue the Texas nationalist movement. California needs to slow down and realize that if they secede, there will be a huge price to pay.
Or do you want them to grow up in a country where, truthfully now, we have an anti-Semite, we have a homophobe, and we have a guy that said the Ku Klux Klan ain't so bad except for the fact that they smoke pot. These people are going to be running our country. On our tax dollars, they're going to be running our country to boot. So ask yourself, which one's more crazy? Which one seems a little more loony? The idea of sticking with that progressive vanguard, of being at the forefront, of changing this country, changing our community in a way that is the best for us, or sitting back and letting other people change it in another way, or even worse, pretending that nothing's going to change at all.
There is no pretending that nothing is going to change all because America is going to remain the way it is. It's not the government's job to change America, it's the responsibility of the citizens. Remember what John F. Kennedy said? Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
So, hopefully I've given you something to think about. If you think I'm nuts still, that's okay. A lot of people in California, especially if that lady in Tennessee is watching, I bet she still thinks I'm pretty crazy. But I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear your ideas, and hopefully we can have some more of these. Winter's coming, so these will all be brief, because I'm going to try to keep them outside. So that's it. Again, this is Eric, coming to you from the Eastern Sierra, signing off, and I hope you have a great time out there. All right, take care.
And the video is over. I apologize for dragging on my points, but there were flaws regarding Mr. Kaufman's points. I'm not an establishment conformist. I'm here to bring forth common sense in a state that went mad over a billionaire Republican being elected president. Protesting and calling for a recession did not work for Texas nor the other red states, and it will not work for California nor the other blue states. Mr. Kaufman, I understand your frustration in defending your points, but you need to understand that there is not enough resources in California for sustainability, and that includes fresh drinking water. Feel free to counter whenever you wish. Anyway, I'm Ed Ray, and I'm out of here.